Okay, so I think we're live. It is just shy of 1 o'clock in the morning. It is Sunday morning. Paula's in here, Dean's in here. Good to see you. Long time no see, buddy. So we're gonna go over some of the true crime cases of the week, missing person cases of the week, a couple of the trials that are going on. But let me play an intro and I'll be right back. It's good to see all you guys. Hope you guys are all good. It's Heather Brown. How are you? Good to see you, Heather. I literally just saw you guys, most of you guys, anyways. But let me play an intro and I'll be right back. Hope everybody's having a good week. It's getting kind of crazy. Right here. Let's do this. Be right back, guys. All right. So here we are. Yes, you were the first one in here. Thank you very much, Paula. Good to see you. Heather Brown's in here. Dean Johnson's in here. Dean Johnson is awesome. Hope everybody's had a good week. It's been a pretty quick week for me. But then again, there's a lot of shit going on. So let's see where we're gonna start. Let's start with the Delphi shit, get that out of the way. Since that seems to be the most popular thing right this very second. Um, just a little background with me with the Delphi thing is I've been following this case since, I don't know, the day of February 13th, 2017. And here we are with the trial finally. I personally, if you ask me personally, I think Rich and Allen is probably guilty, but I mean, what the hell do I know? I don't know anything. But my whole contention all along is it's been probably lone wolfish type guy that did this. But after 7.5 years, now that there's a trial started, I don't know, man. Let's hope. I don't know. I don't think they have enough. I just don't. I don't know. And I've been trying really hard to give, because usually I try to give law enforcement the benefit of the doubt most of the time, but I don't know. This is just embarrassing. This is starting to become embarrassing. I don't know what's going on. But if I had to, if I was on a jury now with this case and I had to give my verdict, I'd have to say not guilty, man. I just don't. I don't see the evidence. I just don't. But I know everybody's got their own opinions, and I'm happy with people's opinions. It's all about the girls, right? It's all about the families. It's a brutal unaliving. I know everybody tries to make light of the situation, but two beautiful kids brutally unalived out there, and I just I want them to get the right person. That's all I care about, I guess. But I've been watching a lot of other people's creators. Who did I watch today? I watched Tom Webster. Tom Webster's awesome. Rick Snay's awesome. I just got done watching R&M production. They're awesome. Criminality's great. They're all great. But I also watch Pro Prosecution too. I watch a lot of that too. I just don't see I don't see the evidence. I'm sorry. I mean, if you go back and I can pull the PCA up, that was released you know, 30 days after the press conference they had when they arrested Richard Allen, if you go through the PCA, this is just not a lot. I mean, uh, I don't know. It's just really, it's really weird. Maybe there's evidence coming. I don't know. I just don't see it. Um, uh, I just want the best for the girls. I mean, they didn't deserve what they got. To me, personally, it's all about them, and that's basically. But this whole investigation's been nothing but a shit show, as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry. All right, so I guess we'll start. Let's start with this here. Let's start here. Um, Oops, let's do this here because there's a lot of shit going on in the news right now. So I just want to uh, go over this here really quick. What am I doing here? Hold on, let me share the screen. Plus, I've been trying to get a lot of the college football games in too at the same time, so it's been pretty busy. All right, so this is coming out of CBS News Chicago. This is done an hour ago, and this is if people don't know about the Delphi case, I don't know what to tell you. February 13th, 2017, two girls went missing crossing the Monon High Bridge, and the next day they found them at about 12 o'clock. And it's been a nightmare ever since. I mean, 7.5 years. They finally arrested somebody 2 years ago, probably pretty close to the same time. 2 years ago in October, they arrested Richard Allen. They came out with a press conference and been waiting for a trial. Finally, the trial's here. So these are some of the new details. And we'll go back. I'll play a few videos of this here.
Indiana, the murder trial of Richard Allen, the man accused of killing teenage girls Abby Williams and Libby German in 2017, continues. Yesterday, during opening statements, the jury heard the girls' cause of death, that someone killed them with a knife. Our Sabrina Franza has been following as more witnesses testify. Sabrina, today, attorneys tried to...
Hey, Jenny, 8675309, how you doing? Jenny's in the house. I hope Miranda's doing okay. I also hope Southern Gal's doing okay. I know Southern Gal's been battling something too. I hope she's doing well. Like I said, I've been fairly busy following these two cases. I've been following the Delphi case, and I've been following the Sarah Boone case, which is another wacky case. Delphi, though, is weird because Delphi, it's like drags you in. You start following it a little bit, then it drags you in, and then it seems like you're in a spider's web. You can't get out of it. So, but like I said, to me, it's always been about Abby and Libby here, and I hope that they get some answers here. But I don't. It's not looking good. If the prosecution loses this case, hopefully that doesn't happen. Right? Like you're hoping they find somebody who's responsible for this, right? Whether it's Richard Allen or somebody else, but if they lose this case, and there's a good chance that they could get an acquittal here, nobody's going to get answers. But anyways, let's go back to this here.
Paint a picture of what actually happened after the murders.
Dave, they did. They called multiple witnesses, really getting into what happened after the girls were realized to be missing. Day 2 of the Delphi trial detailed what happened during parts of February 15th, 2017, the day the bodies of best friends Abby Williams and Libby German were found. The day before, the girls went for a hike and never returned. Richard Allen was arrested and charged with murder in 2022. 2 members of the search party for Abby and Libby testified today. The trial continues on the weekend, while 12 jurors and 4 alternates are all sequestered.
See, the thing is that, I've been kind of, saying that this, I guess before the trial started, I was saying I don't have a problem with them not, having cameras in the courtroom, but you can't trust the media either. I mean, the media is one-sided for sure, especially in this case here. So you want Miranda's out of the hospital, been checking on her every day. She is feeling a little better. Oh, good. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much for that. No, I think the prosecution's been trying to keep a lot of stuff out, and in doing that, they've kind of reduced the evidence to almost nothing. I mean, they can't let anything in. So, that's good news about Miranda, though. Thank you, Jenny. All right, let's go back to this here.
For the whole trial. Jake Johns remembered someone seeing footprints down the hill to the riverbank. Later, the same witness saw what ended up being Libby German's tie-dye shirt floating in the water. The jury looked at a photo of that shirt. The events fit the prosecution's theory that the person who killed the girls forced them to walk down the hill to the side.
See, I don't know. I've probably seen this video 6 or 7,000 times, and I've always said that this actual singular image of this guy is a better. You can see a lot more with the actual image as opposed to the video, because this guy's face changes 8 or 9 different times within this 1.5-second video here, and I don't even know if this is actual video. To me, this whole thing could be, I mean, some of the phones, if you snap the picture, you got, I think it's about a second of motion with it. But anyways, if you look at this face here, this face changes like 8 or 9 times in just a 1.5 seconds. So it's just, I don't know. I don't think you can tell who this is.
Side of the creek. Pat Brown, another witness, told the jury he was the one who found the girls' bodies. He remembers calling out, "We found him," and added, quote, "I thought they were mannequins," his voice cracking. Allen maintains his innocence.
The defense has an obligation in every case to poke holes in every aspect of the state's case.
We asked legal analyst Irv Miller to explain what details might be revealed next week.
Prosecutors try to put evidence in a chronological order to try to make it easier for the jury to understand the evidence in the case, what the whole case is about. Eventually, probably this week, they're going to start to talk about the incriminating evidence that links him to the crime and eyewitness testimony.
The judge did warn jurors that the proceedings on Monday are expected to be long. This entire trial is expected to last a month. Live in the control room, Sabrina Franza, CBS News, Chicago.
Sabrina, thank you.
Okay, so we rely now on people taking notes in court. We don't get to see the body language of any of the. I mean, I know some of the people have been doing a really good job of getting some of these. Tom Wessler did a good job today of kind of getting some of the. You got to see the body image of some of these people, because it's, you can hear what all the words that are being said, but it's always good to see the body language of some of these characters, right? You want to see the witnesses on the stand, their body language. You want to see Richard Allen's body language. You want to see, that's what I want to see anyways, and you just can't see that. And no matter how they portray this in notes and stuff and through the media, you just can't see that.
We begin tonight with day 2 of the Delphi murders trial. Jurors got the rest of the weekend off following a morning court session today. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jenny Drasler. Fox 59's Russ McQuaid was in the courtroom this morning and tells us about hearing from the man who discovered the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German on Valentine's Day 2017.
Yeah, she's awesome. I've been following her too for a while. Andrea Burkhart. Like I said, I follow a lot of people. I don't, unbiased is fine, but I don't mind, following people who have, either a guilty or a not guilty kind of view on this whole case. But the speculation is over, in my opinion. We're down to the brass tacks now. This is the trial. So, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, they better start coming up with some evidence, because, like I said, if I was, I actually believe Richard Allen did it, but I'd have to see more evidence before I could, determine a guilty or non-guilty verdict because I just haven't seen it. I just, they just don't have anything. But that's just my opinion. But we'll see. And juries are weird. Juries, I just think it's weird how they came up with a jury so fast. That's just my opinion. A day and a half. Okay, here we go.
In what will be the first of several Saturday half sessions, jurors heard from 3 witnesses, the former police chief of Delphi and 2 searchers who went out to find the girls who were missing after taking a Monday afternoon walk along the Monon High Bridge outside of town. When Abby and Libby took a day off from school to walk the Monon High Bridge some 60 feet above Deer Creek on February 13th, 2017, they were accosted by Bridge Guy, captured here on video from Libby's cell phone, who ordered the girls. Investigators say Bridge Guy followed Libby and Abby to the south end of the Monon High Bridge, where they were forced down to the creek bed. Searcher Jacob Johns testified.
I've always had a problem with the creek. I don't know if I'm still on the fence of the whole creek thing because I don't know where the water is. There's so many things that I don't know about this case, but I have a hard time believing people cross that creek. I always have, but they must know more than I do. But it just doesn't make any sense. None of that makes any sense. I mean, this is a pretty good creek here. You don't just walk. I mean, you don't just walk across this, right? I mean, run across this here, and then they would have had water all over their clothes. So if there would have been any blood on them, the water on their clothes and the water on them would have. That just doesn't make any sense to me. It just never did. But I mean, stranger things have happened, right? I have in one of my videos, I think I did a year and a half ago, I did 2 of them of my depiction of what happened there that day, but that was going based off of the PCA. So I might have to do another one because I don't know how much of the PCA is really reliable. I mean, I've been waiting for a long time to see the actual tip. I wanted to see what Richard Allen actually said to the CO officer or Dan Doolin, but we don't have that. So it's just weird how we don't have that.
That he walked the south side banks of Deer Creek for hours Tuesday morning until, after passing under the bridge, he described another searcher spotted possible footprints and disturbed rocks leading down the incline to the creek side, as if someone had scrambled down the hill.
My thing is, when I first heard about this case back then, and I forget where I heard it from. It might have been Good Morning America. It might have been CNN. I forget. But the day they found the girls, it was a breaking news, and I think it was. I mean, it's so long ago. I forget what I was even doing. But right after they found the girls, I mean, my gut feeling told me that there was going to be a suspect within like 48 hours. I mean, this is in the middle of the day. This is in the middle of, a trail here. There must have been somebody around that saw something. So, my initial thinking was that they have this wrapped up within a month or so. So then I kind of stopped following it until, hey, Miracle Hearts, how are you? Good to see you. Miracle Hearts is here. And then I stopped following it until the first press conference, the 1 year anniversary press conference on the trail with Doug Carter, and I played that in one of my other videos that I did on Delphi. That's when I knew that this case was going south, because it was the 1 year anniversary where they were on the bridge and they looked beside themselves. They looked so depressed. All of the the law enforcement officers looked so. I mean, this whole case has been nothing but a catastrophe for law enforcement. They just did. And like I said, I usually stick up for law enforcement, but Um, it's just been an awful investigation, just terrible.
Then Johns and Shane Hapgood found a tie-dyed shirt belonging to one of the girls hung up on tree roots in the creek. Meanwhile, another witness, Pat Brown, told jurors that he received word that something had been found in the creek. So he started walking south from Morning Heights Cemetery on the creek's north side when he stumbled on the site of the girls' bodies. I thought they were mannequins, he told jurors, and then as his voice cracked, Brown testified he called out to the other searchers, "We found them." Brown said he then called Delphi police with his find and turned his back on the scene. Witnesses are expected to testify that they saw a man who wore clothes similar to Allen's that day, who was walking along a nearby country road with pants that appeared either muddy, like he had been in a creek, or bloody, as if he had just committed a crime. In giving the jurors the day off just before noon, Judge Gull said they should.
You can take 70% of the population, especially male population, and I guarantee you that their outfit is going to be blue jeans and a jacket like that. I mean, that's, to me, that's not evidence. That's and I keep saying all the time, if I saw somebody walking down the road and I was driving in a car, I probably wouldn't remember anything about the person, right? You see somebody for a second or split second, you really don't remember much. But if you see somebody walking down the road with an overcoat and they have like a huge Bugs Bunny hat on, you're probably going to remember the huge Bugs Bunny hat, right? Because it's just not normal. You just don't see that every day. And I haven't heard one witness yet say anything about Richard Allen's height. Richard Allen is a short guy. He's a small guy. He's almost to the point where if you saw somebody like that walking down the road, to me, that would be the first thing that I would point out if somebody asked me. Like, the person was really short. I mean, because you just don't see somebody that height walking around every day. 5'4", like I'm 5'8", 5'9", maybe tops. On a good day with my shoes, maybe I'm 5'10". So 5'4", I mean, that's really short. That would be the first thing that I would have remembered. And I haven't heard one witness say that yet. So, with them just saying somebody was walking around with clothes similar to BG, I mean, that's 70% of the male population out there. It's, that to me, that's not evidence.
Should plan on a lengthy witness when they first come back to work Monday morning, which may be an indication that
Honeybee's here. Where's Honeybee? Honeybee's here. How you doing, Honeybee? Good to see you. I'm just saying it'd be the same thing if somebody saw somebody out there that was 7'5", right? You'd notice, wow, that guy's really tall. Whoever I saw was really tall. It would be the same thing with, somebody that short, a male, a fully grown man. And I'm not making fun of the guy. I'm just saying a fully grown man that's 5'4". That's freaking short. That's, especially, he's 4 inches taller than you. But you expect girls to be that. I mean, you expect girls to be a little shorter, right? I mean, that's just, I've met some pretty tall girls in my life, but when you see a guy that's 5'4", that to me, that would have been, and I find it weird that none of the witnesses have said that. They've all said the same thing. They're wearing the same clothes, but I could walk down the street now if I find that's what I wear, with blue jeans and I wear my hoodie, but that's blue jeans and a denim jacket. That's a good 70% of the male population.
That first witness will probably be a law enforcement officer who will detail for the jury on how he first arrived on the scene and then secured that scene where the bodies of the girls were found. In Delphi, Russ McQuaid, Fox 59 News.
And you know who else is 5'4" or 5'5" is Mike Patty. Mike Patty's fairly short too. And when I first saw This was years ago. This was the first year, I think. When I first saw the image of Bridge Guy, I said, "That's Mike Patty," because he's fairly short too. So let's go. Let's this here. We'll do this one here. Let's do this one here.
If you have your electronics, make sure they're off or in your
This is freaking funny. Look at all these people. This is so funny. Is this Marv? It's not.
car.
Overnight, people wrapped around the Carroll County Court.
Let's see if we can pick that. Is that Anya right there? No. See if we can pick out some of these people here. Look at all these people.
Courthouse in Delphi, Indiana,
You wouldn't have caught me dead at this place.
eager to secure a seat for the long-awaited trial. 52-year-old Richard Allen sat in the courtroom, often glancing back at his
I, you know, the whole, not allowing the, this case is just so bizarre. It's just so weird. Not allowing the sketches in, I think that's a little weird. Yeah, 5'4" short, and he's not just 5'4". He's not a big guy either. Marv was the first seat. He wasn't playing. I don't blame him. I hope you're well, Honeybee. Haven't seen you around. I asked for you yesterday on Rick's chat, but nobody seemed to. Hope you're doing well. Honeybee's awesome. Yeah, I don't date tall guys. Oh.
family members. In 2017, 13-year-old Abby Williams.
I mean, like I said, this whole case is about this beautiful little kid right here
And her best friend, 14.
This beautiful little kid right here, because they died a horrible, horrible death. It's just so awful. It's just terrible.
Year-old Libby German went for a hike along a bridge trail. Their bodies were found the next day, less than half a mile away. Both their throats slit. Prosecutor Nicholas McClelland said the case is about three things: Bridge Guy, a bullet, and the brutal murder of two girls. Bridge Guy refers to this image captured on Libby's phone shortly before she was killed, and this audio.
I do want to thank everybody for coming in. You're working on a project? Cool. I can't wait to see it. Is it something we're going to be able to see? I hope you're doing well, Miracle Hearts. Good to see you. Like I said, there's a lot of shit going around. There's a lot of people who are ill. I knew a girl once. She was like 6'2". That was tall.
Clip prosecutors say was a man.
But I mean, 6'2" is tall for a girl, right? 6'2". So 5'4" for a guy. That's got to be, that like, especially with Betsy Blair. Like, because I think when Betsy Blair when she finally got to the bridge that day and she saw that guy standing there, whoever that was standing there, I think that freaked her the hell out. And usually when you're freaked out, you remember a lot more than you would if you weren't freaked out, right? So, and the fact that she, I don't believe she mentioned that he was that short, that's kind of persuasive.
Forcing the girls off the bridge at gunpoint. The bullet refers to an unused round located near the bodies that prosecutors say matched a gun owned by Allen. Allen told police in 2017 he was on the trail the day of the murders, but he wasn't considered a suspect. During a review of the case in 2022, police connected the unused bullet to one of Allen's guns. John Tompkins is a prominent Indianapolis defense lawyer.
So on Rich Chat, I forbid Heather to be sick. So Heather can't be sick anymore. Yes. If you have a channel, that's why I give out so many wrenches. If you have a channel, post it here in the chat, please. Because there's a lot of good creators. Honeybee is one of them. Paula Fitzhenry is one of them. Tons and tons and tons of channels that have great stuff. So post them in the chat if you want. And I'll promote you as much as I can. I've been promoting Vid Inquiries lately. Who else? Truth and Justice? I think Truth and Justice has a great Southern Gal, of course. Southern Gal's great. We all know who Southern Gal is. Steve and Mrs. Steve, great channels.
He had lived in that community before, during, and right up until his arrest was pretty shocking. And there was no clear connection between he and the victims.
Despite the lack of DNA.
A difference. Is that him actually leaving the car?
Despite the lack of DNA or weapon, prosecutors said.
Hold on a second.
And there was no.
Wow. What a difference.
Clear connection between he and the.
I mean, he looks complete. Is this him actually the other day or lately? I mean, he looks. Wow. It looks like a completely different person here. Don't you think he looks completely different from the image when he was all, I don't know, decrepit looking? I mean, he looks. Wow.
Victims.
I mean, that's weird.
Despite the lack of DNA or weapon, prosecutors said Allen confessed to the murders while in prison. The defense insisted he didn't do so voluntarily.
The judge has this trial locked down, banning cameras and devices inside court, issuing a gag order, and sequestering the jury for the duration of the trial with no cell phones, only allowing supervised visits and calls. The judge also ruled today that the jury will not hear a defense theory that a cult committed the murders. Meg Oliver, CBS News, Delphi, Indiana.
See, I actually believe that all of this stuff that they've been keeping out is actually hurting the prosecution more than it's helping them. People want to hear the stuff, regardless. People want to hear, because I think the fact that they're keeping out the Odinistic stuff is actually probably a good thing for the defense. I mean, there isn't anything. I mean, I've never heard anything at all. We waited 7.5 years for this. I don't know why there was a gag order. I said that in our R&M's chat. I mean, why was there a gag order for 2 years when they don't? There's nothing. I mean, what? But it's early and it's early, so they could have some other stuff. All right, so what are we doing now? We're gonna go one more of these here, and then let's do this one here.
Starts now.
Gripping testimony in Delphi today from the first person who found the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German after they were killed more than 7 years ago. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Spears.
The other thing I want to say is the hair thing. And I put this in the my community thing. I've known about the hair thing for a long time, so I don't know why that's news. I mean, it was for one, is in the Ron Logan document. And the hair thing has been floating around, and just like the whole non-secular items at the crime scene. I mean, we've known about those too. I mean, I don't understand what's going on, but I've known about the hair there's fibers out there too that nobody's talking about. That was in the Ron Logan document. There was a unidentified hair, and then there was foreign fibers. I think that's what it was. Yeah, and this is where I think that the investigation is just a joke. I mean, they didn't test anything. They didn't do anything, and there's no excuse for it. They had Carroll County was the lead, right? And they made it clear that they were the lead. So if any blame goes to them. So Carroll County, the Delphi Police, they had Indiana State Police, they had the FBI, they had the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, they had Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. They had so much shit going for them in this case. Because let me tell you, I've seen a lot of cases, and I follow a lot of cases where they don't have this much attention, right? You see, the Flora 4 case, right? They basically had one guy go in and say, "Oh, nothing to see here," and then left, and then you haven't heard anything. What I'm saying is, there's no excuse for this type of inept police work. It's just amazing. We've been waiting. This is as bad as JonBenét, as far as I'm concerned. I said it like 3 times. The JonBenét case was ruined from the beginning, and I think this one too. I mean, they just didn't. And usually I stick up for police. But this case here, they should have let Indiana State Police handle this, and that should have been it. There shouldn't have been anybody else involved in this, as far as I'm concerned. Because this shit is awful. Oh my God. From what I hear, they didn't even test the hair, right? They didn't even test it. God. Just, I don't know. I can go on and on about that. At this point, it doesn't matter.
IT Mate's Kyla Russell has been in the Carroll County Courthouse following the trial.
All I'm saying is if they lose this case, man, there's going to be, oh, my good Lord.
Trial of suspect Richard Allen. She joins us with day 2 of testimony.
The last person called to the stand here in Delphi was.
I honestly think a lot of it has to do with ego. I really do. People in those positions have a lot of ego problems, I think, and they don't want anybody else to tell them what to do. So, I mean, you see it in state cases all the time. You see all of these, just cases that go on forever and ever and ever. And I think it has a lot to do with ego. They don't want anybody else butting into their business. I guess it's and to not have cameras in this courtroom. That's regardless. This case is going right to appeal, anyways. This is just a mock trial, in my opinion.
Was the man that discovered the bodies.
Unless he's acquitted. If he's acquitted, then that's it. The Delphi case is over.
Emotionally told the story of the steps that led him there. Pat Brown is a lifelong friend of the Germans. He first heard about the disappearance of Abby and Libby after a typical Monday night supper. He says he immediately jumped in to search. The next morning, Brown testified he called off work and kept looking. After several hours, he got a call saying Libby's shirt had been found in Deer Creek. He went to the area, and while he was walking toward the creek, he made a horrifying discovery: the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German. Brown cried to the jury in court, saying, "I thought they were mannequins at first, and I just said, we found them." Using several maps, Brown explained exactly where they were in relation to the water and a nearby cemetery. He said you could barely see the water from where the bodies were. Attorneys for Richard Allen questioned Brown about cell service he had in the area the bodies were found. It's a topic they've narrowed in on, as they plan to use Libby's phone as a key piece of evidence against the state. Before Pat Brown spoke, the others took the stand. The first was Steve Mullen, who was Delphi's chief of police in 2017. He is now the Carroll County Prosecutor's Office investigator. Mullen told the jury about the moment he learned the girls were missing. It was a routine day that turned dark. Mullen said he was stationed mostly at dispatch during the search for the girls. He left there at 2 a.m. the next morning, and at the time, he didn't believe anyone had hurt the girls, and he thought they would return home. He came back to dispatch at 7:30. Later that day, he got word the girls' bodies had been found, and he met with their families. With drone video taken in February of this year, he walked the jurors through the trails and onto the Monon High Bridge. Next up for testimony was Jake Johns. He spotted Libby's tie-dye shirt and shoe floating along Deer Creek. He said he spent about 4 hours on February 14th, 2017, looking for the girls. He spotted the shirt and called for first responders. John said a firefighter also participating in the search went into the creek and retrieved the shoe and shirt. Johns testified that was the moment he heard the voice of Pat Brown saying he had found Abby and Libby. Judge Fran Gold told the jury the next round of testimony could be quite lengthy. Court will meet again on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Reporting here in Delphi, I'm Kyla Russell for Wish TV. WishTV.com or follow us on Facebook for updates.
All right, so that's that there. We'll play this one here.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 5:30.
And we, of course, have to get you caught up on all the big developments coming out of the first day of the Delphi murders trial. Anne-Marie joins us live from Delphi tonight, and she's been setting the scene, giving us more context to how the community is responding. Anne-Marie?
Well, good evening, Felicia. You know, WTHR is so fortunate that for 6 out of the first 8 days, we were able in the draw to have a member of one of our journalists in the courtroom for a firsthand account of what the developments are. We were in there today for the opening statement and the very first testimony. Bob Siegel was in the courtroom this morning, switched out this afternoon with Emily Longnecker. Testimony has now wrapped for the day.
Yes.
What would you say are the key moments?
Well, the key moments really came during opening arguments when both the prosecutor and the state shared with the jury. They kind of outlined what the jury is going to hear. And they made it very clear that the jury is going to hear some really tough evidence and testimony. And some of the really emotional testimony that we heard from today, it got started right off the bat with Becky Patty, Libby German's grandmother, who just explained just the agonizing hours of that first day when the girls were not where they were supposed to be after visiting the Monon High Bridge, and then just that next agonizing day when the girls' bodies were actually found. I will mention, I was able to sit in the courtroom in the first row, just a few feet behind Richard Allen. So I thought I would just mention some of the things that we noticed about the defendant today. You know, he came in, he's not wearing the prison jumpsuit that we've seen him in for most of the last 2 years since he's been arrested. He's wearing khakis and a purple shirt, a tightly shaved haircut.
Hey, Vinay Cruz, how are you? Good to see you. I just mentioned you. Where's Gail? Gail's here too. Sorry, I'm trying to do stuff backstage here. Hey, Gail, how are you? Good to see you. I was watching Vid Inquiries again yesterday with the Halloween stuff. Awesome stuff. They have a great channel, literally. I don't know if it's true, but someone said an older man. Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those, especially when they get into the whatever they have as far as forensic stuff. That's when people are going to start falling asleep. I do think that the confessions are going to be a problem, but like I've said about the confessions, if it's a confession where it's like he's saying that the professor did it in the library with the lead pipe, then obviously it's not it's not a confession. So we'll have to see what those do. But I think the prosecution could lose the case by just a really horrible investigation. That's just my opinion. It's awesome. Vid's got great. Gail Hurd's awesome too. Thank you for coming in, Gail. Who's this guy? Is this Richard Allen? I don't know who these people are.
He, right before the judge and the jury walked in, he bowed his head, he put his hands together, and he prayed. That was the first thing we noticed. He took notes throughout the entire testimony today. And, right now he's on his way back to the Cass County Jail.
Vid, did you Heather wants to know if you're mad at her. Yeah, I heard some stuff here too. Juries don't like. Hey, Mustang, how are you? Good to see you. Mustang's here. I said that it's strange to me how they could get a jury within a day and a half. I think that's a little weird. But maybe somebody said maybe they sent out questionnaires before. It's possible. Hey, Ruckus, what's up, buddy? Ruckus is here. Vinegar says she sees you, Heather. She says she didn't block you. Can you see her now, Heather? Good to see everybody.
The families, it was.
I mean, who did this drawing? I hate to say this, but I could have probably done a better job than this. I don't know. That's Gull right there. Does she have long hair like that? Who's this? That might be Kelsey. This is weird.
Now he's on his way back to the Cass County Jail. The families, it was a hard day for them. They've been waiting for this day for a very long time. But, you know, for them, there were tears shed by the families listening to that emotional testimony. Richard Allen, at
That's
one
what I
point,
said.
he shed some tears as there was discussion just about his time.
That's what I said. Like, it looks like a Peanuts drawing or something like that. That's just weird. Like, that's it just goes perfect with this case, though. I mean, there's no such thing as Delphi is like a spider's web. Like, you get stuck in it and then you can't get out of it. Ari's in the purple shirt. Okay, gotcha. So he's the guy with the glasses on his head.
That he's been spending in prison and what this has done to his 30-year marriage. So again, very emotional. We are very pleased to be able to be in the courtroom to bring all of this information to you. And we will be there tomorrow. We will be there on Monday and most of next week as well.
All right. It really struck me when they were talking about the condition of the girls and to prepare the jurors to be prepared to hear some of those gruesome details.
Yeah.
It's what nobody wants to listen to, for sure.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yes. All right. Well, our live coverage will continue coming up at 6 o'clock in the late. As for now, this is the latest from Carroll County and Delphi on a very emotional and important day of testimony in this Delphi murders trial. Back to you.
All right. That was Anne-Marie Tiernan and Bob Siegel.
What else is going on? Next best thing, the cameras. It was a bad drawing. It's a terrible drawing. But it's, you know, honey, you leaving? Honeybee's leaving. I hope you have a great weekend, Honeybee. I hope you're feeling good. Hope you're feeling okay. Honeybee's awesome. She's got a great channel. She's a great work. Very intelligent, all of that stuff. He looks completely different. Richard Allen looks like he just I don't know, not even the same person that he was in that other image, that's for sure. I like this lawyer right here. She's pretty smart.
Reporting live there, our team coverage continues this evening. Our legal expert, Katie Jackson Lindsay, has been following today's developments in the Delphi murders trial as well. And Katie, let's dive right in here. What was the biggest revelation of today?
Well, I think the biggest revelation was learning for certain the cause of death. We have speculated, we've learned some things through the pleadings that have been filed, but knowing that for certain was a big thing. And then along with that, hearing from the defense that there may be evidence that the bodies were moved at some point. I think that's really big evidence or a preview of really big evidence that we might hear during the trial.
So the prosecution's first witness today was Libby's grandma, Becky Patty.
One thing I don't believe, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for this with a few people, but I don't believe they were moved and brought back. Meaning, I don't think they were moved and then driven around town and then brought back. I don't buy that. But that's just me. It doesn't make it real. But you would literally have to have, I don't know, 2 or 3 people for that.
Who testified for about an hour about the girls going to the bridge and then learning the girls were not alive. Why did the prosecutor choose a family member to start their opening statement today?
Well, first, there's this technical legal
Sympathy.
issue that people don't really think about, that the prosecution has the burden of proving that these victims were at some point alive. And so that seems really silly, but that is a part of the elements that they have to prove. And so it's really common to call a next of kin witness to do that. There's also the added benefit of humanizing the victims at that point, giving them a personality, giving them more than just a face, and the things that the jury will hear about their murder during the trial. And then finally, Becky Petty sort of serves 2 roles. She is that next of kin witness that can prove that there was life, but she's also a fact witness because she actually had contact with the girls on that day and can sort of add to the timeline that the state's going to be presenting.
And the
Yeah, you're talking about the private drive. So rumor now is that there was a white van. And if anybody's been following me for a while, anytime there's a crime, there's going to be a white car of some sort. Just believe me, it happens every single time. I remember the Beltway snipers there. Everybody was looking for a white van. Remember that? Even in the Idaho 4, there's a white car, right? There's always going to be a white car or a white van or a white truck. I wouldn't put too much stock in that. He drug her from the tree over by Abby. Yeah, there was some movement in, the staging for sure. But again, we've known about this stuff for a long time. It's not surprising that. I always go by Robert Ives' statement. When Robert Ives came out with that interview when he was finally off the case, he said they were moved and staged. I mean, that's we've known that. It's not a. And I've known about the hair for a long time. That hair. Like I said, I don't know why that's big news. We've known about that for a while. Yeah, but white Idaho 4 is a white car, right? Yep. But even if there isn't a white car, I'm surprised there wasn't a white car in the JonBenet Ramsey case. Somebody probably saw a white car. I think it's because white cars are probably the most widely bought vehicle. I don't know. In the Beltway sniper case, it wasn't a white van; it was a sedan. Ruckus has an awesome channel too. So if anybody on this planet isn't subscribed to Ruckus yet, good to see you, Lady M. Where'd you go? Lady Monet's in here. I mean, I have a lot of other thoughts too, and I'll be the first person to tell you that, my opinion, if Betsy Blair would have crossed the bridge, and if the girls wouldn't have shown up when they did, then I believe that Betsy Blair, whoever witness 4 was, which I think is Betsy Blair, she would have been the victim. Whoever was there and whoever did this was planning on unaliving somebody that day.
The defense team has already said that there is reasonable doubt and the state's investigation has just been messed up from the beginning. How do you think that's going to play a role?
Well, I think what we saw was defense counsel really taking advantage of one of the jury instructions. And that instruction is that reasonable doubt can arise from the evidence or lack of evidence. And he really leaned in.
See, in my opinion, the defense has to be a little careful with that. Yes, whoever needs a wrench, yes, you can get a wrench. 2 knives, 2 perps, yeah. Honestly, I don't think they know what happened out there. I just don't. And most of the times they don't. It's just an opinion. So the reason why I give out wrenches is if you have channels, if you know people who have channels, because over here we're covering Delphi today, but a lot of the creators that come in here, like Southern Gal and Mr. Steve, and we cover a lot of cases that don't get a lot of coverage. So if you have a wrench and if you have a channel, if you know somebody who has a great channel, you're welcome to put them in the chat. And I don't think you could do that without a wrench. So whoever wants a wrench, let me know, and I'll do that. Hey, look at somebody's agreeing with me. That's funny. That's classic. All right, let's go.
Into that and use his opening statement as an opportunity to give the jury a preview of those challenges.
Another thing I don't agree with is, a lot of people say, how can somebody just do this? How can somebody just wake up one day and do this? This happens all the time. Unfortunately, it's, if you look at the broad scheme of things, like in crime, especially violent crimes in general, I think everybody just thinks serial killer. But SKers, they make up a very small percentage of violent crimes. There's a lot of one-offers all the time. So when it comes to, how can somebody do this? Like I said, I thought from the very beginning, I've thought this was a lone wolf type of crime. It had, in my opinion, it had all of the signatures of that. All right, so let's go back to this here.
Challenges and a roadmap of the challenges to look for. And so I thought that he did a good job just out the gate, really honing in on that.
Richard Allen's defense attorney also attacked the cell phone evidence in the state's case. Why is that key to their case?
Well, we've always known that
They don't have it. They don't have his cell phone data, so they can't put him there.
that the cell phone evidence was key in terms of what was found on the cell phone, the down the hill audio, as it's been called. But we now know not just what's on the cell phone, but the cell phone data in terms of the ping data and connecting to towers is going to come into play as it relates to the timeline of when that phone may have moved, when it was connecting to towers, and what towers it was connecting to. And that's going to be really important in terms of timeline.
Okay. Well, we are out of time with Katie Jackson Lindsay this evening.
I mean, it's so weird. This case is just so weird. It's just I mean, like I said, I could bring up the PCA right now, and they just don't have anything on it. The bullet, but that's the bullet thing. In my opinion, the bullet is good only if there's tying evidence to it. And I'm not saying there isn't evidence. I just haven't heard it yet. I mean, like I said, if I have, I think I agree with that. I think he's been planning. Whoever did this has been planning on doing this for a long time. A lot of these guys strike out a lot, and it just so happened that day, all the stars and planets aligned, and he unfortunately it had to be two beautiful little kids. It just sucks. It's horrible. It's a nightmare. It's whoever did this needs the worst punishment possible, period.
But there's so much more that we're already learning today with the first day, but to be able to see more evidence and hear from the prosecution as well as the defense, time will tell how this all unfolds.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Katie.
Thank you.
And I never thought for 1 minute that Keegan Kline or Tony Kline were involved. Whenever you start listening to convicted criminals, felons, people like Keegan Kline, if you believe anything that guy tells you, I don't know if I can help you. I just don't. he's just such a piece of shit. He just is. He's just a, you know, he's one of those kids that, you know, never got attention. Is just looking for attention. And if you give him 2 minutes of your time, he's probably going to lie to your face 100% of the time. It's not like, whatever Keegan Klein says, do the exact opposite. He's such a piece of dog shit. It's just so horrible that he's right where he should be. All right, so we're going to move on now. I want to play this other trial from this other crazy lady. And we're going to just play a little bit of this because I can't take a lot of her. Let's play this here. Let's play the 911 call first. This was done. All right, hold on a second. Let me share this here. Yeah, I don't believe that at all. I don't. I respect your opinion, but I just don't believe that at all. Never have. Because, you know, I go all the way back to what Becky Patty said. This wasn't a planned thing. And I think Libby was much smarter than that. She went to the bridge to take pictures of Abby crossing the bridge. That's exactly what they did. Yeah, I think it's a separate thing now. Unfortunately, it's just a separate thing. That's just me. All right, so let's go back to this Sarah Boone thing. Let me play this here. All right, so this is going to be the 911 call. This trial has started too in the Sarah Boone case. Finally, she's accused of unaliving her boyfriend George Torres, February 2020, by zipping him in a suitcase during a drunken game of hide and seek. And then she went to sleep and then woke up the next morning and he was a dead duck. So she's on trial now for this. Finally, she's fired, I think 8 or 9 of her defense attorneys, and finally this is going to trial. So this is the prosecution playing the full 911 call, and this might be a little disturbing here. In fact, they can't even bring his name up in the case. That's how bad that whole situation is. You know, I think the defense should have definitely gone after that, though. But the judge refused to allow it in the court. I mean, he literally confessed to I'm talking about Keegan Klein. I mean, he literally basically told them that he was sitting in a red Jeep waiting for his father. I mean, it's just, but it's such a lie. It never happened. And they can't even they can't even bring his name up. So I don't tell you. But if I was, you know, I would have demanded that he be allowed into this because, you know, if I was the defense, that's what I would have gone after. They literally said right to his face too in the whole interrogation there. They literally said, "We don't think you did this, but we think you know who did." So they have that going for them. They have a lot of stuff. But right now, I think the defense is doing a pretty good job not saying anything. I think the prosecution is saying everything for them. And I just try to be honest, you know, because right now, like I said, if I was on the jury, I don't know if I'd be able to vote guilty.
It's 300 minutes.
And I actually think he did it. So
Call on Monday, February 24th, 2020.
911, what is the location of the emergency? 4748 Brick Court, apartment 3. 4748, what's the street name? Brant, F-R-A-N-T-D. And the appointment number? 3. Is this a police or medical? My boyfriend is dead. Okay, send a line for the fire department, do not hang up.
Location, Reggie.
That's good. No, please don't leave. 4748 Brent Lane, apartment 3. Brent Court. Brent Court? Yes.
Okay, is this near Mackenzie Drive?
I don't know where that is.
Okay, okay.
It's Gilwood Park apartment.
Okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, correct. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I put him in a case when we were playing, and but kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep, and
See, this is what happens when you get, a little bit of alcohol in you. You wake up feeling like a completely different person. Does she want a wrench? Let me know.
and I woke up and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Right, okay, what's your apartment number?
3.
Apartment 3?
Yes, like he had like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know, like he had like an aneurysm or what happened.
Right, okay, all right, okay, listen, we're getting out of G. All right, okay. Okay,
Now?
Okay, 40, yeah, man, this is, we're on our way there. You're at 407-716-8684. Okay, you hanging from somewhere or what, man?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay, so he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay, how old is he working now? 42-year-old man. All right. Okay, we're setting up on the sheriff's office out there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. All right, listen to me. Okay, that you need to confirm this one. No, right, I just need to confirm this. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No, he's purple.
Right, is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, flat on his back for me, okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
This woman here is not right. Too funny. This whole case, you can't make this stuff up.
I tried giving him CPR.
I mean, I don't even understand what the defense is here.
No, nothing happened. He's purple.
Okay, listen, you did the defense of the bill. I need you to get it for me, okay?
What is it?
Will you be available?
No.
All right, you right by him now?
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay, listen, okay, ma'am, listen, so this is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's not necessarily cold, but it's stiff.
Right, okay. All right, listen to me. Listen, I want you to lay him flat on his back for me on the floor. Removing the pillows, okay?
I mean, does anybody know what this woman's defense is? Is it this is weird.
Yes, it is.
All right, okay. Wait.
Purple.
This woman is in complete denial here, complete and utter denial.
Right, okay, listen, okay, man, that's fine. We're still going to put compression to him, okay? All right? If you look your hand on his breastbone, right in the center of the chest, right between the nipples.
Yes.
Put your hands up on that hand.
Betty, I'm telling you. Just like that, I can tell.
Okay.
Please. Okay, your girdle.
Okay, listen to me. All right, I want you to place the heel of your hand. Okay, right between the chest, right between the breastbones. Put the other hand, put your
Oh my God. I shouldn't be laughing. This is the unaliving of a innocent person, but this statement right here, her defense is, I didn't mean to unalive him, so I'm not guilty. Her defense is she fell asleep. They literally have her on video taunting the guy in the suitcase. It's
the hand top of that hand. We want to pump his chest to be hard and fast. Going to do twice per second. Okay, no, just keep on pumping. That's all you need to do for me. Keep on pumping his chest for me. I don't need you to stop and talk or anything. I just want you to count out loud for me, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is nice to me.
Okay, man, just keep on pumping his chest. That's all you
Does it sound like she's actually working while she's counting that? It doesn't. It doesn't even sound like she's doing anything while she's counting.
need to do for me, okay?
Yes. Come on, please, hurry up.
Okay, man, they're driving here as fast as they can. Okay, don't stop to say hurry up. Just keep on pumping and counting.
I'm still doing it while I'm pumping, okay?
Okay.
Still doing it.
All right, just keep up the chest. Count out, I'll take a count with you.
1, 2.
I mean, I would think that would take a little bit of energy to do that. You just don't. I don't know. That's what I'm talking about. I just can't take too much of this woman here. She's
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
she is the fittest woman in the world if she's doing that and counting like that.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Please hurry.
Okay, man, they're getting here as fast as they can, okay?
He's there and he's purple.
Okay. Begin pumping.
It's so strange, isn't it? Like, she's on the phone with Pizza Hut. I hope you have stay safe, Vid Inquiries. You're in Delphi now? Oh, you're leaving for Delphi. We're leaving in the morning for Delphi, so I need to turn it now. Great chatting. You're awesome. Vid Inquiries is awesome. She's got a great channel. Very, very entertaining channel. This is just a weird case. It's just I don't know. They offered her, didn't they just offer her a plea deal, like a manslaughter case? She should have taken that.
Best chance for me, man.
I'm still doing it, okay? Still doing it. Still doing it.
Right, okay, that's fine. You did a good job. Just keep on doing it for me. That's all right. They're getting here as fast as they can, along with the sheriff's office also, okay?
Please.
He's not breathing.
Keep on pumping, man. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on pumping for me, man.
I'm doing it, okay? We're playing hide and seek.
See, you can tell she was shit faced the night before, right? And she doesn't remember. It's just so weird. Like
All right, I understand. All right, just keep on pumping for me, okay? Okay.
Please hurry.
All right, okay.
Horrible. This is horrific. What happened? Like, what happened?
Okay, man, keep on pumping the chest for me, okay? There's the parking lot. They should be up there shortly, okay?
I'm still doing it, okay?
You're like, what happened? Maybe you should tell us what happened. She wants suitcase out of her living room so she can go back to bed. This is so horrible. Oh.
Okay, good. And you found them in a suitcase, you said?
Yes. We were playing hide and seek last night. I fell asleep. I think they're here.
Right, just keep on pumping the chest until they push over,
I
okay?
am.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Open. Come in. There's not coming out.
Let that take over for you, okay?
I mean, I don't understand how this is even a case. I don't get it. I mean, what is the argument here?
When was the last time anybody saw him? The last time. We were playing hide and seek. He was in the container. Okay. But unfortunately, he stood down too long in the truck and he recorded it. Hello, ma'am?
And so we're there, obviously.
Alright. I'm waiting for the speaker board. Okay. Is it a little? No, not that.
And the thing is taxpayers has got to pay for that, right? Taxpayers have to pay for this, and one of them things she is playing a game.
Hey, man, the time comes to take care of you, okay? Yeah, so we'll see you there.
All right. Oh, ma'am, is still there? Hello? Come back with you.
I mean, this is going to be like a bad dream to her, but she took somebody's life. I just don't understand what kind of a defense this is going to be here. It could be one of those. Do you think it's going to be one of those domestic type things here? But they were both wrecked, so I don't know. Anyways, I can't take any more of her. She's weird. Do you want to hear the ex-husband? Let's hear this for a little bit.
Yes. Sir, good afternoon. You could be seated. After seated, if you could please state and spell your name for the record for us.
Brian Boone, BRIAN, BOONE.
Thank you, sir. You may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us how it is that you know the defendant?
I dated her for quite a while, and then we eventually got married.
When you say
So this is the ex-husband. He's
you dated her for quite a while, how long are we talking?
I met her in the late 90s, and I believe it was around 2005 when we got married.
Did you have any children as a result of your marriage with the defendant?
Yes, we had one son.
And how old is that son?
He is currently getting ready to turn 14.
Did your marriage with the defendant last?
And no, it did not.
And approximately when was it that you separated and began proceedings for divorce?
Probably 2017, I'm thinking maybe.
And at that time,
this guy here ain't fitting into no suitcase.
when was your divorce actually finalized?
Oh, maybe it was 2006. I think the divorce was 2017. I believe.
And after your divorce,
I don't know.
what was your custody arrangement with your son that you had in common?
She was supposed to.
I mean, they literally have her on video taunting the guy in the suitcase. You could see the suitcase moving. She's literally taunting him, and then she just goes to bed. I mean, that's, oh my god, how's she supposed to get out of there? I mean,
To have him on Mondays and Tuesdays. I would have him Wednesday, Thursdays, and then we'd alternate Friday through Sundays every other week.
So 1 week you would have 5 days with your son, and another week she would have 5 days with him.
Correct.
And was this still the same custody arrangement in February of 2020?
Yes.
And in February of 2020, did you have, do you recall the events?
so he told her to call 911. She wasn't going. This is the guy that told her to do that. I wonder if she wasn't going to.
That occurred, I guess, first on the late evening of February 23rd, 2020.
On that evening,
oh boy.
well, apparently Sarah called me at one point during the night.
Do you recall about what time she called you?
I think it was 11 something.
When you answered the phone, how did Sarah sound?
Yes, suitcases and antifreeze. If you have any of those in your house, you might want to get rid of them.
On the phone.
She sounded like she had been drinking, was pretty drunk.
Were you able to understand what the defendant was saying?
Somewhat, but she woke me up. I had work the next day. I was asleep when she called. She's done this before, calling me late at night, and generally I kind of just try to ignore it, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Who was she living with at the time?
George Torres.
When she called you late that evening, could you hear George in the background at all?
Not that I remember, no.
Did you pay much attention to this phone call?
You couldn't hear him because he was in a suitcase. Yeah, the games they're playing these days.
No.
Now, the following morning, on February 24th, 2020, did you begin to call the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And approximately what time did you begin to call the defendant?
I think it was like 11 o'clock or something.
And why was it that you were calling her?
Well, it was going to be Monday. I had him on Sunday and dropped him off at school, and I was calling to try to find out if she was going to be actually picking him up that day.
Why would you have a question about whether or not she was picking him up?
She wasn't generally very good about actually getting him on the day she was supposed to.
So it was not uncommon for you to have to remind her to pick him up or to make sure that she was going to pick him up?
Well, I mean, remind or just find out if she was going to, or if she was just going to give him over to me as what happened.
Do you remember at what time on February 24th you actually got in touch with the defendant?
I think it was like 12:30 or something.
And when you...
I wonder if they've done a psych evaluation on this woman here. Because I don't think she's all there, in my opinion.
actually got in touch with her, what did she tell you on the phone?
That George was dead, and if I would come over.
Oh my God. Am I gonna hear that again?
And when you actually got in touch with her, what did she tell you on the phone?
That George was dead, and if I would come over.
Did she say what happened to him?
I don't remember if she told me then on the phone or when I got there, but she told me they had been playing hide and seek and that she fell asleep.
What did you advise her to do?
I told her she needed to call 911 and that I would come over as soon as I could.
And this is on your first phone call here at approximately 12:30.
Yes.
On 2/24/20.
Yes.
I mean, is that her defense? Is her defense yeah, it's really bad. I wonder if that's her defense. Maybe sanity?
Did she call you again while you were en route to her residence?
She did. She called to find out if I was still going to be coming over.
And when you spoke with her while you were en route, what, if anything, did you advise her?
I told her she needed to call 911 and told her.
I'm telling you, man, this stuff is not funny. But this, I got to stop it here. This guy, this whole thing is. I've been trying to follow this. It's just she's guilty. I mean, she's literally guilty. I don't know what's going on here, and I don't know why. But I guess there's got to be a trial. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty, I guess. But this case here, hey, big fish, small pond. Good to see you. Hey, stay home. I'm going to jail. That's too funny. All right. Let's do something a little bit more serious here. I guess, I don't know. Let me share this here. So this is, I don't know if you've heard about this case going on. Susan Simpson here. I think this is coming out of San Antonio again. And this has been going on all week. This was done 3 days ago. So Susan's Simpson's husband, Brad Simpson, was charged with assaulting her before she went missing. Let me see if I can find one older than this here. I think we covered this a little bit last week, so let's play that one first. Hold on. 3 days ago, we'll do this one here.
The search for the almost.
So the search for the Almost Park missing mother of four, Susan Simpson, is now in its 9th day. Authorities have alerted the community about a possible answer to where she could be. I've been following this case relentlessly all week, hoping they can find her. But the husband's been arrested. So we'll do kind of like a chronological thing here.
Park missing mother of four, Suzanne Simpson, now in its 9th day. Authorities alerting the community just last night about a possible answer to where she could be. Over the last 9 days, police have searched around Almost Park, where neighbors say they saw Suzanne and her husband Brad.
You guys are so awesome. I really appreciate everybody coming in. Always a good chat. Always look forward to Saturday nights, early Sunday mornings for sure. You guys are all great.
Fighting in front of their home.
After 3 days looking there and in the family home, police expanded the search to Bernie. They spent 1 day there, saying they recovered evidence and led them to this landfill on southeast of Bexar County. This is a view of the search efforts from our drone cam. Multiple agencies there assisting. They want to bring closure to Suzanne's family.
And that search is underway right now, taking a turn from what so many others were hoping for.
Officials now.
So this was done October 15th. And then we'll go to the latest. This has been all over. Everybody's been covering this here. This is one of those, probably another one of those domestic abuse things here.
I'll say they feel confident this is where her body is. And tonight we're getting a better idea why. News 4 San Antonio's Robert Price joins us live from the search site with the very latest. Robert?
And good evening. It is day 9 in the search for Suzanne Simpson, and it has brought us here to this landfill in southeast Bexar County. Law enforcement officials have asked us not to reveal the exact location, but an email from the Olmos Park Police Chief is giving us a better sense of why they've spent the past 2 days here. I'm going to show you some video from a little earlier of all the activity that's been going on at this landfill. Here's a view from the ground and from the air. Painstaking, tedious, dirty work, digging through trash that's had more than a week to accumulate since Suzanne went missing. Texas DPS and the Texas Rangers leading the search with help from Olmos Park Police, as well as cadets from the San Antonio Police Department. That excavator picking up piles of trash, dropping the trash into the back of that dump truck, then taking it over to a separate area and sifting through the trash. So why here? Why this landfill? Quote, we feel confident there is a good chance of recovering Suzanne at that location. Evidence, statements, and solid police investigation has led us there. Now, as for Suzanne's husband, Brad Simpson, he remains in the Bexar County Jail on family violence charges. His bond set at $2 million. He was scheduled to have a bond reduction hearing today, but that hearing was canceled because he has a federal detainer now. The ATF placing that detention hold on him, meaning he'd be transferred to the custody of the U.S. Marshals were he to post bail. And then there's this from Brad Simpson's brother, Barton Simpson, posting to social media about the search for Suzanne and the effort.
What I want to know is why he got in the suitcase, right? They must have been pretty blitzed because I'm not getting in a suitcase and then shutting it and have somebody zip me. I mean, it's just a little weird. Let's see here. The Olmos Police Department issued a statement below last night. We are so appreciative of the endless grueling hours. Olmos Park residents. The continued investigation of the case of Susan Clark Simpson. Simpson family is very helpful and supportive. Evidence, statements, and solid police investigation had led us to that location. This would not be possible without the help of many. He's not cooperating. He must have lawyered up. So that's that there.
Efforts of law enforcement. Quote, we are so appreciative of the endless, grueling hours they have committed to uncovering solid information. We are comforted by the fact that they might be close to determining what happened to Suzanne. Back out here live, the crews here behind me have been hard at work for going on 9 hours now. No word yet if they plan or how much longer they plan to be here digging this evening, but we'll be back here with another update coming up at 6. For now, though, reporting live in southeast Bexar County, Robert Price, News 4, San Antonio.
And there are so many layers to this story. Police say Suzanne's.
All right, so let's go to the maps here. Who died? Hold on a second. Let me stop that there. All right, so this is apparently just outside of San Antonio here. This is Olmos Park. Olmos Park. I don't know how to pronounce that. And this landfill is going to be in here somewhere. But I'll try to figure that out. But she went missing here. And the husband must have lawyered up because he's not cooperating. The baseball field. They must have some evidence that she's out there, though. So let's hold on a second. Let me stop sharing that. Go back to the video here. Karen Lee's here. Hey, Karen Lee, how are you? Good to see you.
husband, Brad Simpson, was uncooperative, which made the investigation even more difficult.
And here's a breakdown of the timeline of what we know about this case, at least so far. Almost Park investigators learned that there was a disturbance at the Argyle, but no one reported it that night. However, according to the affidavit, the couple was seen fighting after returning home from that private club and seen.
Okay, so one of the neighbors, I think, witnessed this argument here. The disturbance happened around 10 p.m. Susan and her husband were seen at the Argyle. No one reported a disturbance, so I'm wrong about that. This is October 6th.
Fighting in a wooded area at Oak Park. That's near their home.
The next day, Brad Simpson told police his wife didn't come home. He learned no one had picked up their daughter from school. As the investigation unfolded, police learned about the fighting between Brad and Suzanne.
Last Tuesday, Almost Park police issuing a clear alert and volunteers helped to look for.
Oh, wait a minute. I was right. So Brad Simpson reported his wife missing. Almost Park police investigate and learned of fighting at home, and the husband was uncooperative. So I was right.
Investigation unfolded, police learned about the fighting between Brad and Suzanne.
Last Tuesday, Almost Park police issuing a clear alert and volunteers helped to look for Suzanne at Almost Park, and authorities issued warrants for Brad Simpson.
In the early hours of Wednesday, Brad was arrested for 2 assault charges out of Bexar County.
By Friday, Simpson was transferred to the Bexar County Jail and placed on a federal hold by the U.S. Marshals and ATF.
The community of Suzanne's friends and family say they're leaning on faith. The vigil was held for the Knicks real estate agent on Sunday. Barton Simpson, Suzanne's stepbrother, continues to ask for prayers. We spoke with Suzanne's mother, Barbara Clark, who admitted she doesn't think her daughter is alive, but is trying to understand what happened. You can follow our coverage on the case on our YouTube channel. Just scan the QR code on your screen. You can see the interviews and press conferences from the past 9 days of the investigation.
Okay, so let's do this here. This is he was arrested on possessions of gun charges. But let's do this one here.
All right, our top story this morning, 11 days.
So this was done 2 days ago here.
Days missing, and the search for Suzanne Clark Simpson continues.
The effort to find Suzanne has spanned multiple counties as crews look for clues as to where she may be.
Our Patty Santos is live at the Southeast Side landfill where things will start back up again later this morning. Patty.
Hey there, good morning. Yeah, this is the 4th day of them searching this landfill right behind me. Authorities have searched 4 different sites since her disappearance. They have searched Simpson's home, they have searched the Almost Park Basin, and an area along I-10 near Boerne along with this landfill. We want to show you some video of what the site looks like here at this landfill. Crews have spent the last few days looking at the Southeast Side landfill. They are indicating that this is the place that Suzanne will be found. Almost Park Police released a new statement in this investigation. It reads in part, quote, "The missing persons investigation led investigators to this particular site. Based on data received, not searching this landfill was not an option." The statement continued saying no items of evidentiary value have been found. The search will continue throughout the week, end quote. The missing woman's husband, Brad Simpson, is being held in the Bexar County Jail on bonds totaling $2 million after being arrested in Kendall County last week on charges of family violence and unlawful restraint. Now, he is being questioned in the disappearance of his wife. According to court records obtained by KSAT Investigates, he is facing a federal felony charge for illegally owning a firearm. And of course, we're going to continue to monitor the situation as daylight comes up and as the search begins this morning. We'll send it back to you.
Moving on to our top story here. The landfill search for the body of a missing realtor and mother continues this morning. This is day 11 of her disappearance.
Investigators have been camped out combing through the landfill for 4 days. Our Patty Santos right now live in Southeast Bexar County following where the search for Suzanne will begin once daylight hits. Good morning, Patty.
Hey there, good morning. Investigators have been pretty close off about what led them to this landfill. behind me, but Olmos Park police have said that.
Hey, Tech Death, how are you? Good to see you, man. Tech Death is here. Tech Death has got a great channel too. I don't know what's going on with this video here, but
They are confident they will find Suzanne Simpson's body here. Now, let's show you a little bit of the video that we have gathered throughout these.
Tech Death, let me know if you want a wrench. That way you can post your channel. Tech Death does great work. Great musician. If any of you have a channel, he can help you out with the music. Yeah, it always sucks when they're going through a landfill like this because, I mean, remains could be anywhere in here, literally.
Last few days, the search is tied to a sealed search warrant that was filed on Saturday. The Texas Department of Public Safety has told KSAT this is one of 4 areas they have searched in connection to Simpson's disappearance. The mother was last seen on October 6th. A neighbor told police she heard Suzanne and her husband, Brad Simpson, in a fight. Brad Simpson remains in jail with a $2 million bond for charges on family violence. Brad Simpson's brother has reprimanded him on social media for not cooperating with investigators, saying this is his actions and his refusal to cooperate have added a lot of devastation to his parents and their family, ending with this quote: "We will not rest until we find Suzanne." We will continue our coverage throughout the day here on KSAT.com as the search continues today. We'll send it back to you.
All right, so let's hold on a second. Let's do I want to do one specific one here. Let me stop this here. You'll take one? What does that mean? Yeah, somebody must have tipped him off at the landfill. Tech Death is an awesome musician, man. He's very good stuff. I've listened to some of his stuff. Let me play this here. Sorry, I'm doing stuff in the background here. I did that one already. Let's play this one here. Okay, buddy.
Stand now that authorities say they're done searching that landfill in southeast Bexar County. Suzanne was last seen 12 days ago. Since then, the search for her has focused on these 3 areas: the Simpson home and surrounding wooded area in Olmos Park, the Bernie area next to a strip mall off I-10, and for most of this week, that massive search at the landfill. But late yesterday, authorities confirmed they found nothing at the landfill, and we're done searching there. So what is next? News 4 San Antonio's Taylor Whartonby spoke to law enforcement experts about what to expect.
I spoke to members of the small community of Olmos Park who find it hard to speak on the case of Suzanne Simpson. They say they want to keep Suzanne in the spotlight and finding answers.
Hi, I'm Suzanne. I've been in real estate for 13 years. This listing that is now pending. It's been a great transaction because I was personally friends with the buyers and the sellers.
This video captures how loved ones remember the mother of 4, her voice and her mannerisms.
All right, you should have a wrench now, Tech Death. While I'm in here, what happened to Lady Money? Let me know if you want a wrench. Hey, Luis Cuevas, how you doing? There you go. Awesome job. Just going over the Suzanne Simpson case, and then we're going to try to get into the missing here.
After searching for 4 days at a southeast side landfill, the search ended at that site. However, Olmos Park Police said in a statement on Tuesday that we feel confident there is a good chance of recovering Suzanne at that location. I reached out to Abel Pena, a retired FBI special agent, on what could have changed.
Oftentimes that does happen. I mean, there'll be leads that police will get, and they'll go out and chase those leads down. But, as time does pass, the potential for, leads coming in does decrease a little bit. They probably had a pretty fairly good information that led them to that landfill. And if it takes them somewhere else, and they're just, as they get more and more information in from the public or from other sources, then they'll probably continue to investigate and look for Suzanne.
Pena says with his experience, he would go back and reassess the
This has got to suck going through all of this stuff here. The smell coming out of there.
case and see if there's other potential areas that were missed.
I'd probably, contact other agencies. Maybe a lot of other agencies will have different resources available, and just kind of talk to them about what they can offer and bring to the table in terms of trying to find Suzanne.
DPS tells me they are continuing forward in this investigation. We will continue to provide you with further information. But for now, reporting from Almost Park, Taylor Whartonby, News 4, San Antonio.
Thank you, Taylor. There remain so many questions about this case. We are still waiting to hear what will happen to Suzanne's husband, Brad, who remains at the Bexar County Jail. Police say he is not cooperating with the search. Will we hear from him or his attorney? We've also asked how much trash did authorities search through at the landfill? Was anything helpful found? We'll let you know what we learned. The Suzanne Simpson story has dominated national headlines as well as social media. We reached out to a Florida mom and content creator about a Facebook page on the case that has already garnered more than 1,000 followers. Karina Thomas created Missing Suzanne Simpson discussion and updates just one day after Simpson was reported missing. As a mother of 7 living in Florida, she wanted to help people get information about the Almost Park mom who vanished without a trace.
She's a mom. Her children need her. Her family needs her. And she deserves to be found. What else drew me to this case was I've never seen such, like her brother-in-law. He is advocating so much. And he's even said he don't like how his brother is acting. He wasn't raised this way. If his brother won't talk, he will be Suzanne's voice.
Thomas says Simpson's discussion page is one of more than 100 Facebook pages she has created for missing women and children over the years. This week, I took part in a conversation about Suzanne Simpson's disappearance on our YouTube page. I spoke with reporters Stephanie Esquivel and Marisa Mendoza about our coverage of this case for the past 12 days, the facts of the case, recent developments, and challenges in covering the search. So to watch it, just go to the News 4 San Antonio YouTube page. You can scan the code there on your screen. It will take you to the page where you can watch that conversation, plus all the interviews, searches, and press conferences we have covered.
All right, so I think that's going to do it for that, but I'll keep covering this here because it's possible that this is going to be kind of like the Susan Morphew case here where it's a domestic thing, but I'll keep an eye on it. All right, so let's go. I'm going to go here. Let me do this here first. Stop sharing this here. What am I doing? I want to go to the missing persons case of the week here. So let's do that. I just got to find it first. Hold on a second here. Right here. Nope, that's not the one. Oh, I can do it this way. Hold on. Hold on a second. Let me find this here. Right here. Okay, each week I try to cover one of these missing person cases. This one here, he probably put her in. He could have put her anywhere. Yeah. But let's. I'm gonna read this here. Okay, so I'll share this. Problem with some of these cases is not a lot of information on it, so you got to go literally searching for information. But eventually you can find it. Let's see here. Bianca Carrasco disappeared after an affair and a fight with her husband. Bianca Carrasco told co-workers she'd been having an affair. Her husband, she said she walked away from home after a fight. She joked with co-workers that if she vanished, they would know who did it. Right, so Carrasco's sister, Giovanni Bernie, describes her as a beloved sister, wife, mother with a huge heart. Obviously, she wasn't the greatest wife if she was having an affair, but never mind. She was very compassionate. That's what made her a wonderful nurse. So she was a nurse. Julie Stinson met Carrasco in nursing school when they were both young moms. She said Carrasco's husband was often away working on the oil fields, but to her, they seemed like a cute couple. I saw him tie her shoes whenever she was pregnant instead of having to bend over. Carrasco's sister said by the time the couple moved to San Antonio, their relationship had turned rocky, and Carrasco's husband frequently shared their troubles with family members. It was almost like he was panicked that he was losing her. All right, so let's go to this here, and we'll watch a video. This is going to come from News Nation. Right here.
But the next day,
had her number and I would call it, and
is concern for his well-being, and they're asking anyone with information to contact the Homicide Bureau at 323-890-5500. More than 10,000 of you have watched our story on Julie Vesegalt online. Julie is an aviation enthusiast who left her apartment in January, never to be seen again. Julie was living in Elk Grove, California.
Hey, Charles is here. Hey, buddy. Good to see you, man. Good to see everybody in the chat.
California at the time of her disappearance. And although she was having some struggles, I spoke with her sister and a friend who say they do not believe that Julie would have left without telling them where she was going.
Based on the things that I know of her, I've known her nearly 20 years, and she always reached out on a post stating that she needed a hug or is there anyone able to talk? And I had her number and I would call it, and that the circumstances, just everything that's added up just doesn't seem, in my opinion, for her to have been voluntarily driving away. I just don't see that as being, at least my own personal opinion, that that's what's happened. I think something more sinister may have happened to her.
A photo of Julie's car was spotted on surveillance driving through town around the time she vanished. She did have an appointment that day at the DMV that she never showed up for, and her car has not been located. It could be the key piece to solving this case. The car is a 2005 Toyota Camry. The center console has wood grain, which sets it
It's probably like the most widely bought car in the world.
apart from a lot of other models. There's also minor damage on the front left bumper in the front of the driver's side of the vehicle. If you have any information that can help bring Julie home or answers to her family, contact the Elk Grove Police Department at 916-478-8299. In our missing segment this week, we take you to Texas for a case we got a lot of viewer requests to cover. Bianca Carrasco was 29 years old, a registered nurse with 3 young children at home when she disappeared in 2016. 8 years later, her family says they are no closer to getting answers. We reached out to the San Antonio Police Department for any information.
So they do have a Facebook page. I was over there on the Facebook page about this here. So Facebook page is going to be Bianca Carrasco. You can find her Facebook page there.
That they could give us on this case and investigation. They have not responded to our request. We also tried to speak with Bianca's husband, who allegedly told police that she took off one night after an argument. That story has never sat well with Bianca's friends and family, who say she would never have abandoned her kids. As a nurse and a mother, she dedicated her life to helping others, and now her family is asking for our help and yours to find her.
A new billboard in San Antonio and a renewed push to find Bianca Carrasco, missing since 2016.
She is still the funniest person I've ever met to this day.
The fond description of a beloved sister, also a wife and mother with a huge heart.
Very compassionate, and that's what made her a wonderful nurse.
We all just kind of became friends and hung out.
Julie Stinson met Carrasco in nursing school, both young moms. She says Bianca's husband was often away working in the oil fields, but they seemed like a cute couple.
I saw him like tie her shoes whenever she was pregnant instead of her having to bend over.
This stuff always has like the same kind of historical pattern here, where you have this wonderful couple, everybody thinks they're wonderful, then they get married, and then they have a child, and then the shit gets rocky, and then one of them ends up dead. It's weird.
But Bianca's sister says by the time the couple moved to San Antonio, their relationship was rocky, and Bianca's husband frequently shared their troubles with family members.
It was almost like he was panicked that he was losing her.
Bianca, meanwhile, was said to be confiding to coworkers about an affair she'd had and her husband's reaction when he found out.
She was sharing a lot with her coworkers about what was going on, and they actually knew a lot more than I did.
They said she even joked as she left work the Friday before she disappeared.
Well, if I go missing,
you know
what happened to me.
Giovanna says that Sunday she spoke to her sister around 2 p.m. and offered to come take the kids to get them away from the fighting.
I gave somebody a green wrench. I forgot who that was.
She's told me, no, it was okay. It'll be okay. We're going to get a divorce.
Bianca seemed calm, but the next day, no response to Giovanna's repeated messages.
My phone was very quiet, so I hadn't heard from her, and I hadn't heard from him.
Around 4 p.m, she reached Bianca's husband.
He said, yeah, we got into a big fight last night, and she left.
She says he told her Bianca had left their San Antonio home on foot, and he passed her a short time later when he left for work, taking their youngest child, but leaving their 9-year-old and 10-year-old home alone. Giovanna says his calm answer was a red flag.
For weeks, he had been contacting anybody who would listen. And then all of a sudden, Monday, I get a hold of him and he's calm and has no concern about where she's at. That doesn't add up to me.
Luis, let me know if you want a wrench. Jenny too. I know Jenny doesn't want one. You guys are all awesome.
Bianca's sister filed a missing person report with San Antonio police. It says Bianca's husband told them Bianca had an affair and also gave back her wedding ring, suggesting that's why she left.
He says that Bianca took off walking down the street and that he passed her. She's not going to just leave the kids in bed by themselves and take off walking anywhere.
Stinson began analyzing Bianca and her husband's phone records from that night, noting her last activity at 8:08 when she arrived home.
She sent out a text message. Then there's no activity on either phone until 10:22 when he makes his first phone call, and her phone is turned off at 10:22 as well and never turned back on.
To this day, her disappearance remains unsolved.
The group, Project Abstensis, made up of former law enforcement, is now posting about the case. And they've sent messages to Bianca's husband on TikTok.
We would love to give you a polygraph test. We would love to clear you. And since there's been little to no progress on this case, it's frustrating.
Bianca's family and friends are hoping the renewed focus on the case will bring answers, especially for her children.
She didn't just take off and never think about them again and leave them. She didn't. And I want them to know that more than anything.
And again, we have reached out to San Antonio police. We have a lot of questions about this case, but we have not yet heard back about the investigation. It's been 8 years. Joining me now is Giovanna Burney, Bianca's sister. Thank you so much for being here. 8 years is a long time without your sister. How are you holding up?
It's hard to watch. It's frustrating.
I know you thought you'd be a lot further along in this case and that you'd have her home by now. Tell me what's going on with police. We're not getting a response from them. Are they communicating with you all?
They're not.
Hello, The Hunt 532. How are you? Good to see you.
I don't hear much. I feel like I get blown off a lot as a sister. It's just been frustrating.
Do you feel like you know anything more now, Giovanna, than you did 8 years ago when you filed the missing persons report? Have any of the pieces of the puzzle fallen into place?
I feel like there's a lot of details that were there in the very beginning that I didn't share out. I didn't share with the media.
Okay, Paula? Good to see everybody in the chat tonight. Always good to have everybody in here. Just going over this missing person case of the week, Bianca Carrasco here.
I tried to protect the case for the police. So slowly but surely now.
I try to do at least one missing person case of the week. There's a lot of them.
I'm starting to come out with details, but I could sit here for hours and give details of what transpired before she went missing and after that. There just needs to be some questions answered.
These things always come down to one tip, right? It always comes down to all of a sudden, 10, 15 years later, somebody comes up with a tip and then the case gets hot again and then they usually solve it. But people do go missing. I don't think that happened in this case, but you'd be surprised sometimes. It comes down to one very important tip.
Yeah. Well, what can you and what are you comfortable sharing about those details now, 8 years later? What do you want people who are watching this case to know?
For sure off the bat, because there's been speculation that she walked away. This affair stuff comes up. The whole uncle thing comes up, and it's just, it takes off focus that she has not been heard from, seen, no activity on her renewal of her nursing degree, her bank accounts, nothing. There's been nothing. Her husband moved 2 weeks after she went missing. That's a huge red flag. And he leased out their home, so he wasn't there for months. So that tells me, well, you knew she wasn't coming back, and how did you know that if you don't know where she is? He currently has another girlfriend. That girlfriend is another family member. I know that her children believe that they've been told that they believe that she walked away, and I'm just here to fight to say no, she didn't. She did not just walk away.
What is your relationship, if any, with your sister's husband?
Nothing.
No communication.
Nothing.
How about with the kids? Have you seen them since she vanished?
Did you fall asleep, Paula? If you go to sleep, have a good weekend, Paula. Thank you so much for coming in. Your favorite case is getting solved after 30 years. Amy Mihalovic. Did I say that right? I think I have seen that case, actually. If you go to sleep, Paula, have a great weekend. Stay safe.
All those years ago?
No, I have not. Sadly, he keeps that.
It's awesome if that case is getting solved.
From most family members.
They look identical. Literally. Are they twins?
Take me back to the day that you last spoke to her.
No, but they look pretty similar.
The text messages and the exchanges that you had. What was the last thing that your sister shared with you as you look back?
They all look the same.
So the last time I spoke to my sister was on the phone. It wasn't text messaging. We actually had a conversation. Coming from the days before that, everything was really chaos. He was traveling around Texas. I don't know why, but she was trying to figure out.
I wonder who she was having an affair with.
Things. And that Sunday, she seemed pretty calm. I was so worried about her, the kids, just because of all the chaos that was going on and the fighting. And I didn't know what to expect as far as I just didn't know what was going to happen to her. I never crossed my mind that something bad would happen, but where was she going to live? What was going to happen to the kids? But that day she just seemed calm. I offered to come get her where she could live with me, or if I needed to get the kids, anything to try to help.
Yes, Dean's OnlyFans account is pretty popular around here. These parts anyways, I think. Poplar, I should say. Do this here.
And she just reassured me that everything was okay, and that she was going to meet with a divorce attorney on the following Friday. I got to tell her I love her, and that was it.
You think the husband would have known about that? Do women actually tell their husband that they're going to see a divorce lawyer, or do they wait?
It's a tough question to ask, and I know how tough it is to answer, but Jovan.
I would think they probably wouldn't tell the husband.
Knowing what you know, do you believe that your sister is still alive? What does your heart feel?
No. I felt that the week of.
Popcorn sounds pretty good right about now.
I know she's not here. I know that may come across as that I've lost hope, but it's not that. It's just, there's just something.
You just want to help these people as much as you possibly can. It's I told my ex he could sign papers or go in front of a judge, so he signed. But do women usually tell their husband they're going to get to a divorce lawyer? I would think not. I would think that they'd probably go see a divorce lawyer, then tell the husband. That's just me.
In my gut, in everything that I know, all the details that I know, that she's gone.
Tell me about your sister, what you miss most about her.
really, I say this a lot, but really her humor, especially with difficult things. And obviously this is extremely difficult, but she would have been
Awful. This is so terrible.
making me laugh somehow. She just did that to everyone, and she just loved so hard. If you knew her and she was in you were in her circle, she just loved really hard and would do anything for anyone. She would give them the shirt off her back. She tried really hard to overcome a lot of childhood trauma, just a lot of things going against her. And I really hope and pray that eventually the kids get to learn that about her.
I know your heart is broken. I know you miss your sister dearly. Thank you for giving us some of your time, sharing your story with our audience. And I pray that you get the answers and the justice and the closure you and your family so deserve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Giovanna Burney. Joining me now is Abel Pena. He is with Project Absentis organization, a former FBI special agent. You are looking into this case as well. It breaks my heart to hear a family member feeling as though they have lost hope and they don't have answers. They've hit a dead end. Where do you all come in on a case like this?
So Giovanna reached out to us. I think she told us about her frustrations with what was happening, or maybe a lack of what was happening. And she reached out to our organization. We are comprised of retired FBI. I've got a number of other agents and retired intel personnel. And what we do is we go out and we assist, we augment kind of the police resources. And so Giovanna reached out to us. We told her we can look into it. We can try and talk to the police and work with them. And we did do that. We've talked to the police. The San Antonio Police Department has a cold case squad with only 2.
I did divorce myself. I'm in a bank, so his signature was notarized. Oh, you're welcome. 18 months. I got you beat. My first marriage lasted 3 months. And it was 3 months of 3 months. It was, yeah.
2 detectives. And San Antonio, I believe, is the 7th largest city in the country with only 2 detectives. And so they have just an enormous amount of
what?
Did do that. We've talked to the police. The San Antonio Police Department has a cold case squad with only 2 detectives. And San Antonio, I believe, is the 7th largest city in the country with only 2 detectives. And so they have just an enormous amount of cases. And so we came in, we spoke to the family, spoke to Giovanna, and we offered our assistance to try and kind of determine what happened.
I have literally no respect for any guy who abuses women, physically or mentally. I'm actually mentally abused here, I think.
And where did you land? What have you been able to uncover?
Well, we talked to a number of people. We've talked to some of Joe Daniel Carrasco's friends.
I grew up with 2 sisters, and me and my father had an agreement a long time ago that, hands off the girls, go punch a wall or something, or go outside and, we were taught early on not to, and boy, I would have loved to have socked my sister once or twice, but I don't know. I guess I'm not saying I'm better than everybody else. I'm just saying I don't understand where the violence comes from. I just don't.
And we have yet to talk to Joe Daniel. We'd like to talk to him. We've offered, obviously, to get him in for a polygraph. I think he initially agreed to take a polygraph when he was first interviewed back 8 years ago. And we have decided.
I used to stick up for my sister in school. Ron Logan's here. Hey, Ron.
Just to take it upon ourselves and just readdress that with him, see if he's willing to take a polygraph. I've got a staff that can do it. It shouldn't take that long.
One of my good friends one time wanted to date one of my sisters, and I was like, it's just, that didn't last long.
He's willing to sit with us and talk to us. I mean, the polygraph offers just a number of ways to either determine whether he was involved or exonerate him almost completely.
And has he been receptive? Has there been any response to that invitation?
There's been no response at all.
And I know reading between the lines is something that you do as a detective with your experience in the FBI. Where does that leave you in an investigation such as this?
Well, we're still digging. We're still going to talk to more people. And we hope to, get at least convince Joe Daniel that here's an opportunity to be polygraphed. We can assess your credibility. Right now, I think a lot of folks will look at him as a primary.
I don't know if this was a joke or not. Bianca joked to coworkers before disappearing. If I go missing, you know what happened to me. Usually if people say that, that's a hint.
Or his suspect, he was the last person that Bianca saw, or that he saw. And so obviously he's a person of interest. And I think the police have indicated that they would like to talk to, or at least they would have wanted to polygraph him. But again, he lawyered up and decided that was probably not in his best interest at that time. 8 years have passed, and his kids are getting older, and it would be maybe an opportunity for him to come forward.
Something's telling me he didn't do it. But 9 times out of 10, or is it 8 times out of 10, or 7 or 8 times out of 10, it's somebody close. So, but she was having an affair, so I wonder what happened with that.
And take that polygraph. And it doesn't mean he's innocent or guilty, but it's just a tool to assess his credibility.
And those kids deserve to know more about their mom, and I'm sure they have a lot of questions. Abel, as part of a law enforcement, a former member of the FBI, I understand the limitations that law enforcement have in responding to a request like ours for more information about an investigation. They have to keep a lot close to the vest. But
is the UNH homecoming for that's awesome. Hillsborough County. Mustang's leaving. Yeah, it sucks.
How hard is it resource-wise to continue to look into a case like this after years have passed, and what, if anything, is happening now that would give the family hope for some answers?
These are very difficult cases. It's been 8 years, and these are just extremely difficult. I think I can reassure the family that I've had conversations with the detective on the case, and they're making efforts to do everything they can. And again, I mentioned earlier about the downsizing, maybe the defunding efforts, and that the staffing of having only 2 investigators working cold cases. Maybe that's something that should be looked.
They're lucky they got any cold case detectives. Some departments don't have any at all.
Looked at as well. Maybe there should be more, because there are just a number of missing persons cases, a number of unsolved cold cases in that squad. And with only 2 detectives, it's very difficult. But we continue to talk.
Have a great night, Mustang. If you're taking off, stay safe. Have a great weekend. My egos. I don't know if I have any egos. Who's timing people out? Is that Dean again? Dean Johnson is timing people out again, or is that Charles?
To people, we're going to continue to make videos to try to maybe convince Joe Daniel to come forward and clear his name.
Yeah. In addition to that, working with law enforcement, I mentioned a moment ago, there are billboards in that community still. Finally, what role does the public play in person and on social media where we are now in watching a case like this?
I don't think it's really realistic for there to be some sort of a domestic fight and then have the woman just go take a walk by herself at night, right? Let's see how that worked out here. I think that's what happened. She just didn't take off and never think about them, the kids. So yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know if that's even possible. Who would do that? All right, so let's go back to this here.
Taking in all the information, and if they have something to share, how do they move forward? What would be your message?
My message would be to, the public plays just an enormous role. There's witnesses out there. There may be another witness that could potentially break the case, and that person needs to come forward. They need to contact the San Antonio police. They can contact us, or they can reach out to us on our website if they feel uncomfortable calling the police. But primarily, they should reach out to the police, contact them, and they would obviously play. The public just plays an enormous role in missing persons cases and cold cases in general.
We are all partnering together to bring closure and answers to the family. Again, the website, projectabsentis.org.
That's correct.
All right. Abel Pena, thank you. Giovanna Burney, appreciate both of your time on this. We'll stay in touch with both of you. We are all partnering together to bring closure and answers to the family. Again, the website.
All right. So the name is missing is Bianca Carrasco. She went missing 8 years ago, I think. And that's the phone number there, San Antonio Police Department, 210-207-7273. So this is a cold case because they got 2 detectives working on it, cold case department, if you have any information there. So I'll keep an eye on that. But I do want to do this really weird case here too. Hold on a sec, because we covered this last week. Remember the DTE workers? So they finally caught the 2 people responsible. Hold on a second. Remember last week we covered the these 2 guys that went to this house and then unalived this homeowner here. This is right there. So they arrested one guy, and then they arrested the other guy last week too. So we'll play this one first and go back to
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Or DTE, we're checking for gas leaks.
Breaking tonight, the Oakland County Sheriff's Office releases new video in hopes to.
So remember this, these 2 guys walked up to this house. The guy who owned this house was I think he owned a pawn shop down in town. And this is the second time they came. This has been the second time they came to the house. But the second time they came to the house, they were let in. And these 2 guys ended up unaliving the husband. I forgot last week that I don't understand why they would leave a survivor alive. So they left. The wife was tied up in the house with minor injuries, but the husband was unalived. But I wonder why they left her alive.
To catch the suspects posing as DTE workers in a homicide in Rochester Hills. The sheriff's office says that video from a Ring doorbell camera could catch the men wanted in the murder of a 72-year-old man. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Kimberly Gill.
And I'm Will Jones in for Devin Skillian. Investigators say the victim's wife was found tied up with their hands duct taped. Take a good look at your screen right now. This is one of the men deputies say posed as a DTE worker. It happened at a home on Newcastle Drive, not far from the intersection of Dutton and Squirrel Roads. Deputy hopes these new images can help get these suspects off the streets.
Two individuals, a thin African American male and a heavy-set Hispanic male, approached the house and said they were DTE workers looking for a gas leak. They had a placard on the side of a white pickup truck.
Oakland County Sheriff Mike.
Because I found out last week that they had tried to do this before at this house. The first time they weren't let in, but this time they were. And it's just really weird how the wife wasn't unalived too. I mean, you just don't leave witnesses, do you? Unless maybe, I don't know, weird.
Michael Bouchard giving us the details of a horrific homicide that unfolded at this Rochester Hills home.
Look at this house.
Home on Newcastle in the Hawthorne Hills subdivision. Just before noon today, two men posing as utility workers. The sheriff says in no way were they connected to DTE or any other crew.
Additionally, we've recently learned that they came last night.
So this is the one we watched last week, and then they arrested both of them. One was in Louisiana, and I forget where the other one was.
At about 10 o'clock last night, and also said the same thing, but they were not given admittance into the house last night. They came back this morning with the same thing, said there's a gas leak. They were allowed in the house. The husband went to the basement with them where the gas comes into the house, and the wife never saw him again.
The 72-year-old man was found by sheriff's investigators.
Thank you so much, Paula, for coming in. Everybody, feel free to subscribe to Paula Fitzhenry's channel. She's got a great channel. She's going to bed. Have a wonderful weekend, Paula. You're awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy it. It's going to be warm.
Dead in the home's basement. The two men then duct taped the man's wife in a room upstairs. How her husband was killed remains unknown right now.
Why would you bring her all the way upstairs, duct tape her, kill the husband in the basement, and then leave her alive upstairs? I wonder if she was SA'd.
Now,
we're not sure exactly the cause, quite frankly, because there was so much blood. We're not sure whether it was any kind of gunshot or a blunt force trauma or what caused his injuries at this point.
Tonight, DTE is issuing tips to protect you from falling victim to impersonation scams like this one.
First, check for identification. Legitimate DTE employees will always carry and show photo ID badges. If they don't, you should not, of course, let them in your home. Also, there are no unannounced visits. DTE will always try to contact you before coming to your home. So be suspicious if someone arrives unexpectedly, and verify with DTE before allowing anyone into your home. Call DTE to confirm their identity and whether there is a service appointment scheduled.
All right, so let's go to, let's see here. I have this one here.
First, the second suspect in a deadly home invasion in Rochester Hills charged with murder. Thank you for joining us. I'm Simon Shakett. Today, 37-year-old Joshua Zuazo of Dearborn, facing a judge in connection to the death.
So that's one of the guys there. He was the second one arrested, I think.
Death of Hussein Sam Murray. He is charged with felony murder and 2 counts of unlawful imprisonment. He's being held without bond, and he is one of 2 men accused of killing Murray during an attempted robbery last Friday after posing as DTE workers to gain entry to his home.
DTE.
That's the other guy there.
We're checking for gas leaks.
The 72-year-old owned a jewelry store in Hamtramck. His murder leaving so many questions, but most of all, leaving loved ones completely heartbroken. 7 News Detroit reporter Sarah Michaels lifting up the voices of Murray's brother and longtime customers, allowing us to learn more about a beloved man as his jewelry shop reopened.
This thing here must have taken in a good chunk of money, man, because to own this small little pawn shop here slash jewelry store, this guy's got a bank load. I mean, that's a nice house.
Opens for the first time since that unthinkable tragedy.
Today is the very first day that Hussein Murray's shop here, Golden Glitter, has opened following his murder. Behind these doors, you can feel the weight of the community as customers.
So DTE, they're either gas or power technicians. Usually gas, or they claim there was a gas leak.
Customer after customer has stopped by to give their condolences.
I knew him since I've been like 13, and I'm 33 right now.
He give you anything you ask for. If you didn't have no money for something and you needed it, Sam will help you out.
Friday, lifelong customer after customer.
He's just an amazing person, kind-hearted.
Sam like my uncle for real. He just is in different color, different race, but that's like my uncle for real.
Stopped by 72-year-old Hussein Murray's pawn shop and jewelry store, Golden Glitter.
This guy was making out like a bandit here. Look at this.
To comfort his family following his murder.
I don't even know how to talk to them because it's overwhelming.
Hussein, called Sam by the many who loved him, opened his Hamtramck shop in 1988 and through it built close relationships with hundreds of people. His brother Ali Murray tells me Sam would frequently help many people out with medical bills, whatever was needed.
The greatest man I've ever known.
This is the first day the shop has been open without Sam.
It was emotional when we first walked in, to say the least.
On October 11th, police say the 2 men in this video came to Sam's Rochester Hills house pretending to be DTE energy workers. And
Yeah, they even have a fake, like, what do you call this? This is like a work order here. This is a badge there. This is all fake shit. I wonder how they got all the money to do this. This is so weird. This just doesn't seem like your regular. This to me sounds almost like a setup type thing here.
saying that they needed to check a gas leak. They then allegedly murdered Sam when he led them down to the basement. Police say they also tied up Sam's wife upstairs and allegedly hit her. Ali tells me he knows his brother was not around to see that.
Anybody who knew my brother would know that he would definitely have ate them alive before he watched that.
37-year-old Carlos Hernandez and 39-year-old Joshua Zuazo from Dearborn have now both been charged with Sam's murder and denied bond. Investigators believe that the family was targeted because they owned the jewelry store. Sam Murray was a husband, a brother, a father to 3, and a grandfather to 12.
He was the most generous, kindest man in the world.
Customers and family tell me he was a father to the fatherless, a man who will not be remembered by this senseless crime, but...
Are you taking off, Heather? If you are, have a good night. Heather's so freaking awesome. Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't seem like a normal, scam here.
By the hundreds of lives that he made better.
And my mentor, my hero.
In Hamtramck, I'm Sarah Michaels for 7 News Detroit.
So this is trying to find the first suspect for you, but I don't think I can. This is I've seen this when he pleaded not guilty.
39-year-old Joshua Zuazo, charged with felony murder and 2 counts of unlawful imprisonment, accused of murdering 72-year-old Hussein Sam Murray and binding Murray's wife with duct tape.
How do you plead as a count 1?
Oh, good. Thank you, Heather. I forbid Heather to be sick now, so she has to be better. Can't be sick anymore. She has to be better. I hope Southern Gal's doing better though. She was not feeling all that good the other day. Southern Gal's an awesome person, awesome creator. She's she's just awesome. She does great work. I hope she's doing well. Like I said, I've been kind of busy the last week or so covering this Delphi shit. The other case there, I forget the other case that's going on too. The little kid there, Lalani, I forget the name.
How do you plead as to count 2? How do you plead as to count 3?
The man believed to be Zuazo's accomplice, 37-year-old Carlos Jose Hernandez, was arrested on a traffic stop in Louisiana. He's also charged with murder, had multiple armed robbery warrants out of Ohio, and is
This was the guy at the door.
awaiting extradition. The two accused of posing as a DTE crew, claiming to be checking a gas leak just
And this other guy is standing over here. He's kind of like the lookout.
to gain entry into Murray's Rochester Hills home on Newcastle Drive back on October 11th. Zuazo was tracked down by police locally in Plymouth Township.
At the time of his arrest, he was on the job site actually. So he was actually in the community still locally going to work.
Zuazo showing no emotion in court. Police believe Zuazo and Hernandez's motive was to steal valuables. Murray owned a jewelry business in Hamtramck.
He has extensive criminal history.
Why didn't they just rob the store? It's weird. Why go to the house?
That dates back 2.5 decades, which includes a lengthy history of violence. He was recently discharged from parole on 8/16 of 2022.
Zuazo's bond was denied. His next court date set for October 29th. We'll let you know when Hernandez is brought back to Michigan.
I'm definitely touched. All right. Who said that? I don't know if they had kids or not. They might have. I could look that up for you. Not sure. He was 72, so I would think that there'd be some kids somewhere. They might have. But I've been following this. It's weird. It's just a weird situation. I don't know why people would leave a survivor. That doesn't make any sense. Because you should always just ID them.
For his day in court, reporting in Rochester Hills, Scott Walchek, Fox.
I mean, if you have a survivor that can ID you being in the house, unaliving and tying you up, it's a guilty verdict right there. So, all right, one more thing I'm going to do, and then I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to do this. This is a kind of good news here. The Daytona Beach SKer, I think he's dead. I think the guy is dead, but they, I think they pinned another one on him. So this is a 43-year-old cold case. Victim identified 43 years after Daytona Beach SKer left her body on the I-95 medium. And I had pulled up her name, but we'll do both of these here. Second here. All right, here we go. I think this guy here, the SKer, is actually dead. I'm not sure, but
The case.
this is good for whoever the family is left over. 43 years later, they finally identified her.
Of a body found in the woods 43 years ago.
Volusia County deputies say they've identified the woman and believe that she was the victim of a serial killer. West 2's Pamela Combs shows us how detectives piece this together.
It's been 4 decades full of questions and very little answers. For 43 years, Pamela Whitman's sister wondered.
Such a sweetheart, but really had been tormented by the fact that her half sister was missing and was never found. And she did not know that she was in Florida at the time. Knew she was here for a period of time, but didn't know if she was deceased here, if she'd gone to another state, something else happened.
On Thursday, Detective Bill Weaver told us the remains of the 25-year-old.
I don't know if you guys watch lately I've been watching a lot of these old Family Feud archives, but I don't know if anybody remembers who Richard Dawson is, but they're quite comical stuff. That's definitely a cure for this mental health thing here. Anytime you can put on something like that and just laugh your ass off, it's definitely helpful. So it's Pamela K. Whitman. She was born in 1954, November 28th, Indiana. And they just, she was discovered here in 1980, and then they just identified her. So this is just sad, but they got some closure here, and I think they're tying that to this serial killer here.
Were found by a road crew off of I-95 in Port Orange in 1980.
I've seen the pictures. It's probably 30% was of skin tissue and muscle and whatnot, but the rest was all skeletal remains.
Technology wasn't as advanced yet, so they weren't able to identify her. But this year, through genetic genealogy, they got a positive ID, and they tied it back to Daytona Beach serial killer Gerald Stano. Stano, who confessed to killing several women around that same time frame, was
He's let me pull that up here really quick. Hold on a second. Let me I think they are suspecting him as being like pretty prolific. I think they tried to get him on like 43 murders.
women around that same time frame, was convicted of several murders, but this 1980 case remained unsolved. Stano was sentenced to death and executed in 1998.
There's only one way to eradicate evil. You have to eradicate it. And this was pure. When you read how he killed these women and how he preyed on them, there was a book written about it. And his thing was that he looked for women who were walking because he determined those women were vulnerable.
While Whitman's family wishes there was a different ending to this story, they can finally get some closure knowing what happened to Pam.
She said that she felt that a weight had been lifted off her she's lived her whole life with. That's pretty deep.
Reporting in Volusia County, Pamela Combe, West 2 News.
Whitman's DNA was one of 3 samples sent for testing. The sheriff's office says there are 2 other samples for other cases currently being processed, and they hope to get an ID soon.
Welcome back. In our Central Florida true crime files, the family is finally getting some closure after 4 decades, thanks to some new technology.
The body of a woman who was dumped alongside of I-95 near Port Orange has finally been identified. Fox 35's Marley Capper has more on how this cold case.
Okay, so hold on one second. Let's go to this here. So this guy here, this is Gerald Eugene Stano, was an American convicted serial killer. Stano murdered at least 23 young women and girls, confessed to 41 murders. Now he was convicted on 9 counts, first degree murder, so that's 9. He received 8 life sentences plus, death plus 8 life sentences. He was apprehended in 1980, span of crimes, 1969 to 1980. Let's see here. This guy here had a really, really horrible past, though. Stano was born Paul Zeninger on September 12th, 1951, Schenectady, New York. The 5th child born to his mother. And the 3rd she put up for adoption. His biological mother neglected him so much to an extent when she gave him up for adoption at 6 months old. County doctors declared that he could not be adopted. That's what they did back then. Zeninger was functioning at an animalistic level, eating his own feces to survive. Wow. Zeninger had 4 biological siblings. They were given up for adoption. He was a bedwetter. That's behavioral thing that happens with a lot of these people at the age of 10. Here in season D's in all subjects except music, in which he excelled. He lied compulsively and once was caught stealing money from his father's wallet to pay members of the track and field team to finish behind him. What the fuck? He was arrested for a false fire alarm. There's another one, arson there. Throwing rocks at cars from highway bridges. Stano did not graduate high school until he was 21. Wow. He was arrested on April 1st, 1980, after attacking a woman named Donna Hensley a week earlier, who escaped a hotel room and contacted authorities. It is always the one that gets away that solves these. Hensley told police that she was a SW and had been approached by a man requesting her services. Once in a motel room, the two began to argue, and the man ended up doing that to her. So it's bad. Victims. These are all the victims. So they're going to tie this one to him too, I think. There she is right there. This was probably just added. He was executed. Stano was found guilty of 9 unalivings and received 8 life sentences and 1 death sentence, and carried out he was done the electric chair. Awesome. 1998 in Florida State Prison. Final meal was a Delmonico steak with a baked potato. Take that with you, you piece of shit. Oh my God. Ugh. Ugh. All right, so let's quickly go back to this. They must have just added that because this was just done.
Case was cracked. That the woman on the side of the road was a 25-year-old woman named Pamela K. Whitman.
For 43 years, Pamela Whitman's remains were nameless.
Pamela.
So they think he's responsible for at least. He confessed to 41, but they only. Police say the number of his victims may be closer to 88. He murdered at least 23 women and girls, but he confessed to 41, but they only charged him with 9. That's maybe because they couldn't get, but they have 23 confirmed, 41 claimed. I don't know how they get to 88. This guy's he was a real winner.
Left her home in Indiana to come to Daytona Beach to start a new life.
On November 5th, 1980, her body was found. At the time, examiners believed she was killed 4 to 6 months before she was actually found, and then they had no way to identify her body.
Volusia County Sheriff's Department and the medical examiner say they knew little about the body found on Interstate 95. So those who aren't familiar with the East Coast, 95 is like the interstate that runs the entire eastern seaboard. So they didn't know who she was. So she must have been. The woman was between the ages of 18 and 23, had light brown and blonde hair, was between 5'6" and 5'8" inches tall. So there was just skeletal remains found.
Forensics and Genealogy for Justice, they made us an offer to look at some of our missing persons remain cases.
Detectives put the case together and were able to find Pamela's family.
Her half-sister had been looking for 4 decades for answers to nagging questions that kept her literally awake and sleepless nights.
She came to Florida to collect Pamela's remains. Lead Detective Bill Weaver says it was an emotional reunion, but now she feels like a weight has been lifted off of her shoulders. As for Pamela's murderer, Sheriff Chitwood and Detective Weaver believe it was convicted serial killer Gerald Stano.
And like I said, he admitted to 41 killings in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Florida.
Stano was sentenced to 8 life sentences and 3 life sentences, ultimately being put to death in 1998, a sentence Sheriff Chitwood says he deserved.
There's only one way to eradicate evil. You have to eradicate it.
And after 43 years, not only is this case solved, but there's a memorial at the site where Pamela's body was found, saying she had the voice of an angel. Reporting in Volusia County, Marley Capper, Fox 35 News.
And Detective.
Why does everybody from that age look like John Belushi? I mean, it's weird. Well, at least I got some answers on that. It's good when they can identify
Weaver says that they
somebody
have now sent remains
from 1980, right? That's a long time. All right, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I've bored you guys enough. I want to thank everybody for coming in. You guys are all awesome. Feel free to subscribe to all the good channels in here that came in here tonight. We had Tech Death Hippie is awesome. Big Fish Small Pond, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you guys very much. Heather Brown, can't do this stuff without you guys. Heather Brown is an amazing person. I do hope you feel better. Dean Johnson, thanks, man. You're awesome. Keep up the good stuff. I'll see you guys around this week anyways. I'll keep up to date on the Delphi case as much as I possibly can. There's a lot of other good channels out there doing shit, though. Tom Webster's great. Great guy. I like Tom because he's, he's not on one side or the other. He kind of tries to keep it honest. Rick Snae's great. Rick Snae's a great guy. But I do watch, like I said, I watch a lot of the pro, RAs, the guy that did it, people, too. R&M is great. All of these channels, but anyways, thank you, Jenny, for coming in. Gail Hurd, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Miracle Hearts, you're awesome. I didn't see Charlotte in here tonight. I hope she's doing all right. Miracle Hearts is great. I'm going to miss people tonight because I can't scroll all the way up to the top. I know that Tech Death Hippie was in here. So Paula was in here. FarQ was awesome. FarQ was amazing. Paula's got a great channel. Honeybee was in here. Honeybee's got an awesome channel. Vid Inquiries was in here. Vid Inquiries is going to be heading to Delphi. Hope she's safe. Stay safe. The Hunt 532. Thank you for coming in. I have the best chat, the best people in here. I do appreciate all of the people who watch on replay too. I know there's a lot. Louise Cuevas was in here. She's great. Let's see. Who else am I going to miss? Gail Hurd. Did I say that already? I probably did. Hide current comment. Okay, let's do that. And if I miss anybody, I'm sorry. I'm probably going to miss a few people. Yep, I'm probably going to miss some people. All right, well, so let me scroll back down to the bottom. If I missed you, I'm sorry. You guys are all awesome. I do want to thank everybody again. Have a great, safe weekend. If anybody wants a wrench, let me know in the comments or in whatever, and I'll get you a wrench. Other than that, I'm getting the hell out of here. We'll stop sharing that. That's it. I'm going to play my outro and get out of here. You guys have been great. Have a safe weekend. What am I doing? Cancel that. Have a good night, all.